This is a Flying Cow production.
Well, hello and welcome to the first episode of Fantasy Food Showdown. That's right, Fantasy Food Showdown. We are going to be reviewing specifically Tournament of Champions 6. And right now we are going to kind of break down what that is going to mean for anybody that has no idea what we're talking about. But I am not going to do this alone. No, I am going to get a little help from my friend Amber Coates. Amber, how are you?
Oh my gosh. Hi. It's been a minute, but I'm very, very
It
happy to be
has.
here.
Yeah,
I am,
it's been a little bit since we talked, much less recorded
I,
anything together.
I know. And it's really funny that you came around for this because I'm literally in the middle of marathoning almost all of Top Chef. And I
Okay.
was like literally I'm sitting in the living room, my partner turns on the bracket breakdown, and I'm filling out my bracket as it's happening. I'm like, let's go. I
Nice. There you
love
go.
TOC. Ugh, so
Nice,
excited.
nice. I will say I'm a little jealous. For some reason, the bracket breakdown did not end up on Max, which is where I watched this show.
Oh,
So I
that's
didn't get, yeah, I didn't get that kind of break. I mean, I know a good number of the chefs competing just because I've watched all the previous seasons, but there are
right.
definitely some newcomers that I'm not familiar with, and I didn't get that kind of in-depth um, analysis, and so I'm just like, well, hope I made some good decisions.
And in that feature, they actually revealed
Mhm.
that former champ of season 3 of Tournament of Champions, Tiffany Faison,
Right.
who I love, my sweet, sweet tea. She
Yes.
is now one of the like one of
One
the
of the
assistants with
yes.
Justin, Wild
The-
Card Hottie Chef. That is my nickname for him. So like I have the biggest crushes on both of them. And
Gotcha.
I'm glad
Nice.
that I'm glad we get to keep Scoop around because I would have been Scoop Majumdar is like the man. The
I
man.
was about to say because
But
he's now what the judges liaison or something like that.
yes, which is going to be
Yeah.
fantastic. And because Scoop Majumdar is one of like he's a storied chef and he knows literally everything that you
Yeah.
can pick up, just like Justin Warner.
Yeah.
I am
Sure.
so excited. This is going to be such a great season, and I swung. I swung for the fences on this because
Sure.
I think I have a sleeper pick. So,
Okay. All
woo.
right. We will just have to see. Well, for anyone out there that just decided to click on this because you listened to some of the other podcasts or this just randomly popped up, uh, and you have no idea what Tournament of Champions is, we're going to do just a brief kind of breakdown of, what that show is, and then we'll get more into some other things. But Tournament of Champions, first of all, is a show on the Food Network. You can find it streaming on Max if you want to do a little bit of catch up. But it is basically a tournament of, it's like if you ever watch like a lot of the other Food Network competition shows, it's like up and coming chefs or chefs that you've never heard of. Tournament of Champions is like, let's get all of the chefs that win all those other competitions and have them play.
Exactly.
So it is your winners from, I mean, not just winners, but people from Top Chef, people from Chopped, people from uh, you know uh, former Iron Chefs, all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of different people Just kind of some of the biggest chef names that you know, all competing in this game, and it's hosted by Guy Fieri. I will say some people have different reactions to Guy Fieri. When I told one of my friends who I'm hoping is still going to help me review one of these episodes, he was like, "Oh, not sure if I can get past that." But I will say, I think that Guy's a little different in this show than he is in some of his other stuff. Um,
Oh yeah.
but if you need kind of like a breakdown of what the feeling of the show is, uh, for anybody that is familiar with these shows, it feels to me kind of like a mix between Iron Chef and Guy's Grocery Games.
Yeah, kind of. It's also got some like it does have those elements because you're live, you're
Yeah,
cooking right there. It
yeah,
has some elements of like the more like the Fox cooking shows, like
sure.
oh what is it? Uh,
Are you thinking of Master Chef
Hell's
or?
Kitchen, Hell's Kitchen,
Oh,
Master
oh, okay,
Chef.
okay, sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
and Hell's Kitchen just finished up and Gordon Ramsay always has to be brought into this because he kind of helped revolutionize the competition, like food as a
sure.
competition. He's part of that on mainstream, and we're
Mhm.
talking Food Network, but a lot of those there's a lot of
Right.
crossover.
Oh,
So
yeah,
and
yeah,
oh yeah, so in my opinion, I think that this is the best competition show that there is. It's the first one I truly watched, and then I started
sure.
watching everything else. So thank you, TOC, for opening that
Yeah,
door for me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to you before we started recording, and this is the just recently I started watching Top Chef. I've only seen the most recent season, but part of it was number one, I was listening to a podcast that was reviewing it. Shout out to um, uh, geez, now I can't. TV Chef Fantasy League,
Oh
because
yes,
they gave me the idea to do this, but also because I suggested that they do this show and they decided not to because it would conflict with Top Chef. So I'm taking my idea and I'm running with it. So thank you guys for not taking my idea. Um, but so I like you said, it has kind of opened me up to watching more food competition shows and things like that. But also just introduced me to some badass chefs that I wouldn't have known otherwise.
absolutely.
But like I said, the tone of the show is it's very serious competition, but with that element that Guy likes to throw in of you know what they call in this on this show the randomizer, the thing that kind of gamifies the whole
The
thing. Um,
as Tiffany Faison has said, and she says it on this special that everybody needs to watch once you can. You either play the
if you can
randomizer or the
find it,
randomizer plays you. It's
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Schmodown because it's not just about who has the best technique or the best, talent or anything like that. It also comes down to who knows how to play the game, who knows how
That's
to
exactly
use
it.
that randomizer to the best of their ability. And 9 times out of 10, the person that uses that randomizer the best is often the person that wins the match.
That is
So yeah,
so incredibly true.
yeah. But just to kind of break things down just a little bit more. So this is a tournament style show. Every episode, they play 3 matches, assuming that the format's going to be the same as it has been in previous seasons. But it is a bracket of 32 players, some of which had to play in order to get their spot. And each episode they play 3 matches, 2-on-2 matches, and you are judged. Well, they spin the randomizer, and the randomizer brings up, your protein, your veg, your an instrument that you have to use, your cooking style, and your time. Sometimes for the first round that the time will be set, so it'll be something different. But both chefs basically have the exact same even playing field. So they are both thrown a curveball, but they're both thrown the same curveball. And then they are judged blindly by judges who don't even necessarily know who's in the competition, much less whose food they're tasting at the time. Blindly judged, and they're judged on it's taste, use of the randomizer, and plating, I believe.
That is exactly it. And oh yeah, continue. Sorry.
I was just saying that, and the person who gets the most points wins the match, and they move on in the tournament. It's single elimination. There are basically going to be 8 episodes. So, I think 2 in round 1, 1 in round 2, and then round 3 and 4 are basically in one episode together. It's an interesting thing, and we are going to be here with you, watching the show each week. This episode should drop. I'm planning to drop it on Thursday, so the episodes are every Sunday. It starts on the 2nd of March, so you can watch right along with us and enjoy the competition. And we will also be playing a game along with it, which I will explain in just a second. But Amber, anything you want to add about the game in general before I move on?
I mean, I feel like anything that I could say is probably going to come out while we're discussing, because there's a lot of strategy that goes into this, especially knowing like the best people who play in these kinds of competitions are the ones that tend to be competition chefs. So,
Yes.
Like, and there are a lot of competition chefs who came from all these other shows. They know how to, like, a lot of them played in prior years on Guys Grocery Games, on different shows like that. And, like, that's what kind of prepared them for basically the Tournament of Champions arena, which I almost wanted to call Kitchen Stadium, but that's totally Iron Chef. We're not going that far
That's
back.
Iron Chef. Yeah. Honestly, I almost wish that they did still call it Kitchen Stadium. I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily in the same studio, but just to kind of carry that over. Of course, I think the last Iron Chef that they did was on Netflix, so I don't think they even own the rights to Iron Chef anymore.
I think the last official, I think they do. I think the last official Iron Chef was Alex Guarnaschelli, and they just decided to retire the whole brand for the time being. They did something short.
That was a few years ago. They did something on Netflix, I think in 2002. It was hosted by Alton Brown and Kristen Kish.
Oh yes.
And that was the last Iron Chef anything that was.
Yeah. I think it was the last Iron Chef, and then I know exactly what you're talking about, and yes, it was Alton Brown and Kristen Kish, love of my life. Who?
Oh, okay. I can talk to you about Kristen Kish because Kristen Kish, number one, everything I've seen her on, she's absolutely fantastic. She's a great host and everything, and her cooking, when I see it, I'm always like, that looks awesome. But yeah, she is an elegant, sexy giraffe. She is just such an interesting human.
She really is. And for those of you for those of you listeners who may be Top Chef people, just so you know, she went out on Restaurant Wars in her Top Chef season, played through Last Chance Kitchen, won her way back in, and then won the show. She's a queen, and we stand. We stand so hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay, so you know what? Let's talk bracket, because anything they need to know about the game, we can definitely expound upon.
Well, I will get to the bracket in just a little bit, but I do want to break down the game that we're going to be playing, because those at home can actually play along with us, as I am going to be putting. I mean, you can get the bracket from Food Network. but I will also make it available on our stuff so that you can play along with us, because what we are playing is a bracket game that is designed to basically last um, for the entirety of the show. Usually when you play bracket stuff, you lose one, you're out, you're done. But the way that this is basically based on a playoff projection game that I used to play with a group of friends during the NFL playoffs. And we always had fun with it. So I'm hoping that it can work on a larger scale. So the way that we're going to be doing this is just like any other bracket. You will, set up your bracket, make your picks, and based on how well you do, you score points. Um, so basically, every correct um, match that you pick, you will get 5 points for that. Um, if
Ooh.
the if the chef that is winning is the chef that you have projected to win, you will get an extra. Um, I think it's like three or two. I will post the rules. Some of these I actually need to alter a little bit, but you will get extra points for that. If the chef that wins is the person that you pick to be in the final but not win, you get additional points for that. Not
Oh,
as
that's
many,
awesome.
but yeah. And so basically, let's say that you do have, nobody is going to pick every first round match correctly.
Right.
It's just not possible. Um, but you can still continue to play the game because, especially like, let's say that you, let me just pull up the bracket just to give in case scenarios. So let's say in the first round, you have um, let's say Stephanie Izard playing against Michael Reed. Okay, so right now I have Stephanie Izard winning that match. But let's say somehow Michael Reed, who I'm not familiar with, I feel like you probably have a better idea of who he is. But let's say that he beats the Iron Chef, Stephanie Izard. Um, Even though I have Stephanie projected to win that match, I won't get any points for that, but I can still play continue on because I actually have Britt Rossino winning the next match. So I don't need to change anything. It just means that I don't get points in that first week for Stephanie winning that match.
Okay.
And I would just continue on, and because the next round I have Britt winning that match anyway. So basically, each week you will be making your picks based on what you have projected. If you need to change something, you can change something. Now, I do have a little bit of a kind of a loophole built in here
Okay.
because, like, let's say, for example, that um, I have, um, let's see, yeah, I have Shota Nakajima projected to win two of his first matches, but then I have him losing before we get to the final four or the final. So let's say that Shota doesn't win that match. Brittany Anderson actually wins that first match. Even though I have Shota projected to win his second match, I can employ what is called the loophole, which basically means that um, what I am projecting is not um, necessarily for Shota to win anymore. I am projecting for the person that I said he will beat to lose.
Right.
So if I am correct and I used to do this based on points, but points in this are so tricky. But I used to give extra points based on the amount of like how close you got to winning scores and things like that.
Mhm.
But how it used to work is if you got within a certain number of points, since we were doing football, it was like within a touchdown or two, then
Right.
you won. I will say in this, if you're within like maybe 5 points, then not only will you get the points for that match, but your bracket will basically remain intact. So you have basically ways of saving your points because if if you're um, like if you take that chance and it falls apart, you don't get as many points for a win later on.
Right.
So it sounds a little more complicated than it is. Like I said, I will be posting the rules that we will be following on our Instagram and all of our other social medias, Blue Sky, wherever you find us. So make sure to check that out and you can follow along and play with us. But I think that this is a fun way for everyone to remain involved. The only way that you would, basically, the way that we did this is you get one free full chain or change as much as you want of your bracket um, without incurring any penalties.
Okay.
The free change is basically just a way to save your free change. Um, because, like, let's say that you are playing, like, I have Jet Tila projected to win this whole thing. Let's say by some miracle, Jet loses his first match. Well, it would look like I'm sunk, right? But I can
But
use
you're
my
not.
free change. Yes, exactly. I can use my free change to not only continue playing, but basically pick a new person to win this without incurring any penalties. Yeah, there are a lot of different things built that I've built in this game in order to keep people having the ability to play, even if they lose their top picks in the first round.
I love that.
But
And it could happen to me. So
you never know. You never know. But as you said earlier, I think it is time to get into our brackets, so that we can go ahead and get started. And first thing I want to point out for anybody that has followed along with the show, but you are not aware of the changes. A couple of things that are new is number one, if you hadn't already heard, the previous champions are not going to be playing this season. Now, I don't know
and
if this is a change that they will be using from now on. I don't know if those chefs will never come back. If you win a season, if you're just gone, or if this is just what they're doing for this season. But this season, none of the previous champions will be playing. The majority of them will all be serving as judges, and as you mentioned, Tiffany Faison will be one of the sideline, commentators.
indeed. And honestly, I think it was a great change. I think that, I mean, I think it
Well, I
came
mean,
about because
especially
Manit
with
won
Manit
twice.
winning twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Which,
you
I
you keep it
mean,
that way
I,
and
I
you're going to
love
have a
I love
monopoly.
Manit, but exactly, exactly,
Yeah. And
and yeah,
like she's already proven herself. It's better if she's sitting at the judges table and actually, taking the time to comment because
right.
honestly, I I want to hear Dancing Spice Queen Monique talk about all of these things all the time. I don't want to just see her
Yes.
in the kitchen. And I think that's what, like, it's going to make it really fun because we're going to see these like titans literally in some
Hmm.
cases
Oh,
comment.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that means we get new chefs, we get new blood.
Yes.
There's open
Hmm.
doors for some people who have been trying to win this for the longest time. And
Yeah.
I've been
Jet
saying,
Tila, for crying out loud, give the man a shot.
Jet and Antonia Lafaso, like they have been going back and forth. Like Antonia has been trying to win literally everything. She did Top Chef twice. She's done all of these cooking competitions and she's never gotten that golden goose. But then she's changed something about how she does what she does. And I think I really think she's gonna go far. Like really far.
I was introduced to both of them as judges on Cutthroat Kitchen.
Yes.
So to see them now competing and kind of, I mean, I will say, they actually brought it up last season when Antonia beat Jet. She actually has beaten him more times than he's beaten her.
Correct.
So,
and I love it.
I mean, I will say another thing about this show is that not only has a woman won every single season, but there's never been a man in the finals.
That is accurate. Like,
which honestly,
insane.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely don't need that to change. But at the same time, if there was going to be a guy to break into the finals to win, Jet Tila would be one of the ones I'd want to do it.
I agree with that. I think the number one seeds are very interesting if we really want to go there, because you're looking at Jet Tila, who literally, the Jetster, deserves his win at some point. I think he should get it. Yes, I'm going to use every single nickname that I can remember because I love it. But, I mean, a lot of people don't give him enough credit, but Tobias Dorzan is the number one seed in Division D. And
and that is another change that they have made, is there is no longer an East and West, which
thank goodness.
I mean, honestly, they should have done this 3 seasons ago when Brooke Williamson won the West 3 seasons in a row.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
agreed.
Guys, we got to let somebody else make it to the top here.
Well, and because breaking it into 4 different divisions, like, really kind of gives it gives you that randomness that you actually need. I really truly hope that for most, like, that they didn't just say, okay, this is number 1, this is number 2. Like, I hope that they really kind of took and like made it random. It feels random.
Sure. I mean,
because
obviously the way that they have played in tournaments past is the first thing that they consider. But for newcomers, then they're also considering, how they've done in other cooking competitions, their accolades, things like that. So they definitely take those things into account. But, if you just look at the number ones and where they're placed, we have the potential to see Jet Tila versus Tobias Dorzan, which I don't know about you. I really want to see that. You also have the potential to see Antonia Lafaso versus Britt Rossino. I really want to see that. So,
I really do too.
Because both of them have both been on opposite sides of the bracket previously. So the only way you would have seen those matches is if that was the final. And now it doesn't have to be the final. It can be the match leading into the final. So
exactly. You're not just looking at, like, it's a very, the way that it used to be structured felt very NFL to me with the AFC and the NFC.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, basically what we've said, I love it. I think it's great. We're going to see some new matches. We're going to see new blood. And maybe, like, the way it used to be structured, you were only going to get a certain handful of chefs who were going to make it to the top. And now there's so many options. It's insane. And Britt Rossino, like, we've been talking about her since the moment we started this. I screamed. I had her from the moment she stepped on that floor, and she went all the way to the end in season 3, and I was like, she's insane. So
if she hadn't had to go through Manit 2 seasons in a row, she would have already been in the finals at the very least.
It's true. It's so true. And like, she she just killed it. She being in the semifinals and it being like the people who won or were in the semifinals are basically, save for Manit, my final
Mhm.
four. Like
Sure. Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. Like I can't wait to see. Like I just have one crazy one
Okay.
as my fourth person, so I can't wait to talk about
Yeah.
this.
All right. So we're gonna go through this, and we're gonna have to try very hard not to just talk for forever on each one of these matches, especially for some of the matchups. But let's start with Division A.
Okay.
We have the number one seed Antonio Lafaso up against the number 8 seed Maria Mazon. Now, I my obviously we've both talked about knowing Antonia. I've seen her in a bunch of things. She's been in every season of this show. She did actually have, I think, like 2 seasons in a row. She got knocked out in the first round. Like it was crazy.
That is correct.
But obviously the last season she went all the way to the finals and lost against Manit. So obviously she's changed, like as you said, changed something up, and it's working out great for her. I will say her opponent in this first round match, Maria Mazon, I only know based on the play-in match that I watched her do, and I think that she did well, but I think that this is pretty firmly Antonia's, unless something crazy just happens.
Yeah, I mean Maria Mazon, she did play in last year for TOC 4,
Okay,
or I'm sorry, 5,
okay.
TOC 5. But she didn't make
Did
it.
she? I was about to say, yeah, I because I don't remember seeing her. I mean, honestly, I will say occasionally there's a chef that has played but has lost in the first round, and so I don't necessarily remember them super well. But
Exactly it. And like I think there are some other people who made it through last year's play-ins or even got in off of it that like I see doing better. I I
mhm,
mean Maria's a great chef. She's very cool,
mhm,
calm. They were talking about that on that breakdown. But
yeah,
Antonia is a gamer. She's been doing this since basically she popped out of mama's womb. And
well, and
she
she wants it.
oh,
Like
she does. She
she
does.
wants it.
She and Jet are the two that like and this is something that I say in any sports match that's a rivalry game, which is happening right
Yeah.
now for one of my hockey teams. Like if you are in a rivalry game, all record goes out the window. This
Yeah.
is currently the thing you have to win, so you're going to do everything and anything, and if you are truly desperate and want it enough, you're going to make it happen. And
Yeah.
I think Antonia and a few other competitors have that in them, specifically Jet.
Yeah.
Like they have that dog. Like they want
Yeah.
it so bad. And
Yeah.
so I think like I personally have Antonia going to the semifinals. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like
As do I.
insanity.
Yeah.
And this I think we are exactly the same on that end because
Yeah.
you and I both know Britt Rossino. So like um so
Yeah.
I think Antonia's taken it over Maria. Like love
Yeah.
her, want to see her do more. So
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I was impressed enough to want to see her in the, in the tournament, but
mhm.
unfortunately, she's up against Antonia in the first match. I mean, I will say often there is an upset in an 8 over a 1 seed. We
Mhm.
saw that last season with Kevin Lee beating Brooke Williamson in the first match. A woman who had not lost a single match except for finals got
Yep.
knocked out in the first round. I
Yeah,
was beside myself.
and it was absolutely wild. Now I will say, and for those of you who don't know, she got her revenge on Bobby's triple threat because
Oh,
Kevin
did
Lee
she?
competed
Okay.
against them and she beat Kevin
Oh,
in the final round. So she
okay.
did get her
Nice.
revenge. It just
That's
didn't
good
have a
to know.
belt attached. Oh, it was fun.
Sure.
I was like, oh, this is great.
Yo, I bet. I
Oh
bet.
yeah.
I mean, I will say I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder towards Kevin for the rest of that tournament. I was just like, dude, I know you've got to be good, but you got to go down.
That is how I feel almost every day right now, and no offense to him, but I just
Yeah.
love seeing him lose. I don't know why. Um,
Sure.
I'm awful. Anyway,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
the best kind of
All right.
awful.
So the next match in that bracket is Tim Love versus Rocco DiSpirito. I know Rocco from his other things on the Food Network,
Hmm.
and obviously previous, matches in this. I think last season was the first time he got a win in the tournament. Um, Tim Love, I looked him up and I know his face, but he also, to me, even though he's ranked fourth, he looks like one of those chefs who's going to come in and be really entertaining and go out in the first round. So I have Rocco beating.
So I will say this: I think Rocco was actually a judge last season. He didn't even compete, didn't play in, didn't do anything. Um,
I know
they
that
made
he has
they made a
competed
big
in previous seasons. I know, I'm pretty sure he competed in the first season.
he
I could
com
have sworn that he did compete last season.
Yeah, I don't think he could, like, I'm looking at the brackets right now and I don't see him, but I also
Oh,
am
okay.
reading very fast, so don't mind me.
Sure.
But I do know that, like, they made Justin and Tiffany and Guy made the biggest deal out of Rocco coming back because
Sure.
he is a renowned chef.
Right.
He does have a storied career in what, like,
Yeah.
in cooking, in chefing. And
But
he's
yeah.
yeah, like, and Tim Love has, I mean, he I think that for a chef who, for a chef who wants to compete and is fresh, like new, young, they're trying
Yeah.
to compete so that they can establish a restaurant. For a chef who
Yeah.
has established a restaurant and starts competing, I feel that they're competing to retain relevance. And that is kind of what I feel with Tim Love.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he has lost relevance in turn, but I know that he had a restaurant in NYC close after 6 months,
Mm.
and
Oh,
like he doesn't have a lot of rap sheet on him. But
sure.
I mean, I know that he's done uh Triple G, and I know he's done a few different things, but I know
Hmm.
Rocco.
Yeah.
I've seen him cook. And if you watch Wildcard Kitchen, you've seen him cook under pressure, on a dime, on the clock. So, I mean, I
Well, and
think he's actually going
he
to
was
do
actually
great.
pretty impressive at his last showing in Wild Card Kitchen. So
Yeah,
I
he
think that's
really
another
was.
reason that I'm picking him here.
Anytime I want to jump through the TV and steal the plate out of Antonia's hands, let's be real, Antonia is usually the judge there. Anytime that is happening, I know
Mhm.
it's a good chef. And Rocco's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, they made a
Yeah.
big deal out of him coming back, and I am so stoked to see it. I don't
Yeah.
have him going super far.
No, I don't either. I mean, let's be honest. They always make a big deal out of all of these chefs because they're there for a reason.
Correct.
They didn't just pick, some, line cook off of,
Exactly.
your local restaurant. They are picking big name chefs, but there's also a reason that even, um, I think the farthest any former Iron Chef has made it is to round two, and that was or wait, did Jose Garces make it to round two or round three? I can't. No, I think it was round two. Knocked out by Britt Rossino. I
Oh
think
yeah,
in season four. But
I'm going to
that's the
look.
farthest any Iron Chef has made it is to round two, and it's not because they're not great chefs. It's because it's a different game.
It's
It
so
is
true.
the yeah.
Oh,
It's
Jose Garces made it to the quarterfinals. He got knocked out in round
okay.
three.
So it was round three. Okay,
Yeah.
but he did lose to Britt there, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So yeah, I mean I knew that he was the one that had made it the farthest. And I mean, you know, Alex Guarnicelli in the first season got knocked out in the first round. So, you
It's
know,
true.
yeah, and these are, like I said, high level chefs. It's just there is a level of you got to be this good, but you also got to play this well. You
It's so
know,
true.
But yeah, so let's move on to the next match, and we're gonna have to go just a little bit faster through some of these.
Oh, it's a
Um,
I can pare it down to like one line.
Sure. So the next matchup is Kevin Lee versus Casey Thompson. Honestly, Kevin Lee I only know from last season, and he won, I think, like his first two matches. Did he make it to the quarterfinals last season?
He made it a little ways. Let me
He made it
see.
a,
Season
a bit of a
4.
ways, yeah. Because I think he got knocked out by Antonia.
I think you're right, and I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I
find
think
it.
he got
And
knocked out by Antonia, and then Jet and Antonia played in
yeah,
the
he made it to the quarterfinals. That's amazing.
okay,
Good
yeah.
for him.
So yeah, he is knows what he's doing. Knocked out Brooke Williamson. Still don't know how that happened.
Yep.
But and then Casey Thompson, I don't really know there. So, but yeah, I've got Kevin Lee in that one.
Um Casey Thompson was on a Top Chef season I watched. She was really fun.
Okay,
Really great
okay,
chef. I do have Kevin taking her out. Um,
sure.
I think like I think that I think Kevin is very original, very strong of a chef. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
and like he can pivot really quickly. He's made for comps. Um,
Mm,
I think I haven't seen Casey in a while. If she pulls
sure.
out the win, awesome. I will literally scream
Right.
because yay. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my take on that. I pick Kevin.
Okay. All right. The final match in that bracket is Adam Sobel versus Adriana Urbina. Um, I know that Adam Sobel, I think, made his TOC debut last season, and I'm pretty sure he won his first, if not also his second match. So, and I do remember them talking, like, number one, being super excited that he was there. Number two, we're just, that I'm pretty sure, I know he won at least one match, if not two. So, he proved that he's got a pedigree there. Um, Adriana Urbina played in, and she actually got the highest score of anybody that qualified. So I will say in this tournament, there are always a couple of upsets. Where a lower ranked player beats a higher ranked player, and this is one of the ones that I have. I actually have Urbina beating Adam Sobel in this match. I
I
just
love
got
that.
a gut instinct.
I went with Adam Sobel because I've seen him
Mhm.
on a lot of comp shows recently.
Sure.
However,
Yeah.
I can defer to that, and that is a very, very good point because I forgot that she had gotten the highest score in there. Um, but yeah,
Well,
so I
and
went
she
for
made a really good dish, and
yeah.
she was just really impressive.
Oh yeah, and who knows what's going to happen? I mean, it could be her, it could be Adam.
Yeah.
Thankfully, your bracket is set up in a beautiful way. Haha.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think that's the only one that we've disagreed on in the first round so far.
Thus
We'll
far, yeah.
see if we have any more diversions going forth. But going into, we're not going to go completely in order. We're going to skip to Division C, because
Ooh.
over in Division C we have Jet Tila as the number one spot, and the number 8. I'm going to have to open this up so that I can see this name because it's a difficult one. Piet de Spain. Um, I also watched this qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
She won by the skin of her teeth.
She sure did.
In
Um,
fact,
yep,
her competition did not get everything that she wanted to on the plate. She literally
yep.
threw stuff at the plate at the last second just to get anything on there, and it was the lowest scoring qualifier, and she really only won because the other woman didn't get her entire dish plated, and she's
Yep.
playing against Jet Tila. Nothing against Piet. I'm hoping that usually she, has better showings, but it's
She
not going to happen against Jet.
she was the winner of Next Level Chef season 1, and I like her,
Okay, I
but
heard that.
yeah, but I have Jet winning, so there you have it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
exactly,
everything
exactly.
about her first showing was too confident verbally, and then didn't put it into the food. And
Right,
I like
didn't follow through as well.
exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, the next match in that bracket is uh, Joe Sasto, Mustache Joe, against Fabio Viviani. And Joe Sasto, and if you've got it up, maybe you can remind me. I know that at least one of the times that Antonio got knocked out in the first round, it was a loss to Joe. I can't remember if he handed her her second first round loss, because there were definitely a couple that got replayed a few seasons there.
I'm
But
looking
I know
because
that
now
he
I'm
handed
very
her at least
curious.
one. Yeah, I think
Um,
that was in season 2. He handed her a loss in round 1.
let's see.
And Fabio, I don't really know much about. I've seen some whispering about him on the Reddit. In fact, apparently a lot of people are really looking forward to this first round match because they're both really, they're masters of Italian cooking. So,
Yes.
apparently
Uh,
they're really
I
excited about this
believe
match.
Fabio. Now first off, you were correct. It was season 3 of TOC that Sasto took out Antonia.
Okay, okay,
Let's see. And really quickly, I'm going to pull up Fabio Viviani. Um, he was a Top Chef competitor on one of the seasons I've watched. Um,
okay.
let's see. He's pretty fun. Like I really enjoyed watching him. Like
Sure.
I think he was fan favorite on the 5th season, and then he returned on Top Chef All Stars. So
Right.
he's a fun chef to watch. Um,
Hmm.
he's he's kind of I think he's a really great Italian chef. Absolutely.
Okay.
Although once he told Antonia straight to her face that something she was doing a like as French food was Italian or the reverse. No, Italian food was French, and she was like, "No, it can be done this way there too." And I was like, "This is
Oh,
absolutely hilarious." So, I did pick Sasto. I like Fabio, but
yeah,
I
I do
want to
too.
see Joey Boy take it.
Yeah, yeah. I also picked Sasto partially because I'm more familiar with him, and also because he has had some impressive wins in the past.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've got him in that one as well. The next match we have in that bracket is Leanne Wong against Chris Scott. Number one, just want to say, really excited that Leanne Wong was able to make this tournament because I know that she
Yes.
had been battling cancer. And so, I saw like they had like a big fundraiser for her, which, that's freaking awesome that they did that.
She
But the
also
fact that she
lost
was,
everything in the fires in Maui.
oh, that's right. I heard about that too. So, I mean, had a really rough go of it recently.
No
But I
joke,
was
man. Whew.
excited that she was announced in this tournament. But she's also really really good. I know at least once she was knocked out by Jet, but she almost always wins her first round match. So I've got her beating Chris Scott. Chris Scott, I don't really know anything about, other than he's probably going to lose to Leanne Wong.
Well, so I think he was a play-in chef last year. And
Okay,
he did okay. He's got a unique style. It's like blended
sure.
Dutch and something else, German. So like very
Okay.
interesting. A few different things. And then I believe let's see. I think did he go out last year? I'm trying to see. How quickly did you go out,
I
Christopher
mean,
Scott?
he probably did not win his first round match. If he was there, he probably only played the first match.
He played in East B and then went out
Oh,
to
okay.
he went out to Sweet Tea. Okay, so he went out to Tiffany
Okay.
Faison. But
Okay.
so he lost his first round. But he's a
Gotcha.
good chef.
Sure.
I think he's great. I still have him going down to Leanne. So
Yeah, me too.
I like him. I want to see him do more,
Yeah.
but let somebody you're
Yeah.
playing win so that you can come back and do it again.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So then the next match in that bracket is Karen Akunowitz versus Jonathan Sawyer. Jonathan Sawyer. The answer to the question, what would Kevin Owens look like if he was a chef? Jonathan Sawyer. And
Love him.
yeah, because I mean he does. He looks a lot like the wrestler Kevin Owens. But
He really does.
he he got this number 7 seed from the play-in. So that's how he got into this. And Karen Akunowitz is really talented. We have seen her in previous seasons. I think she was not able to make last season because her and Tobias kind of have this kind of back and forth battle where I think the first season that they both played in, Tobias beat her, but then the following season, she beat him. So, it's been back and forth, and this time they're not in the same, sub bracket. So
she
we'll see if they get to play
in
again.
season 4, she went all the way to the quarterfinals and played Manit.
Okay.
In
yes.
season
I knew
5,
she went rather far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in season 5, she
they're
did
always
play.
standing in each other's way. She did play in season 5.
She did. She
she got knocked out early.
She got knocked out by Dale Taldy, who we will discuss in a few minutes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had forgotten about. I just remembered that she and Tobias didn't get to play. So I just assumed, she must not have been playing. But no, she got knocked out before he got to Tobias. But yeah. All right. So that is that bracket. Scooching now over to Division B. In the number 1 spot, we've got Britt Rossino playing against Chris O. Britt Rossino, we've already talked about her accolades. She kind of stormed onto the scene. I believe TOC 4 was her first season.
Yes, it was.
And
that was the season she played
quite far.
Yep.
Yeah, because she made it all the way to the quarterfinals before being knocked out by Manit. She got knocked out by Manit 2 years in a row. But like I said, if it weren't for Manit standing in her way, she might already have a belt by now.
I agree with that.
Super impressive. And then Chris O is a chef that I have seen on a bunch of different things. He won Cutthroat Kitchen. He's won Wild Card Kitchen. He went pretty far in 24 and 24. He's one of those chefs that I find it interesting watching Chris O because he is kind of like can come off very egotistical, but at the same time at least I feel underneath that he's a good guy. He just also likes to talk himself up.
I think the best part is most of these chefs in this tournament are smack talkers, and they have to be the most confident person in the room. I love Chris O. I really truly do. I think he's great. I just am really sad that somebody like this rising talent did a play-in match and has to go against Britt Racino because I think Britt's going to take him down. Now he could always surprise us. He could pull a Britt and be the person who originated the move, but would that blow your mind?
Who did Britt beat because she played in and beat somebody huge in her first season.
Oh my gosh, she beat the number 1 seed, and I have to figure out who it was. Hold on, I'm going to season 4. Let's see. Britt beat Tiffany Faison.
Was it Tiffany? Yeah, I was about to say, I think it was Tiffany. Yeah. Okay.
It was Tiffany Faison, then it was Darnell Ferguson, who we barely speak of anymore. He doesn't exist. Then Jose Garces in round 3. And then and then went up against Manit in the finals. It was absolutely insane. And Britt has one of the best cooking styles out there. Like, I'm ready to see the sick burns that Britt is going to lay because she did just as well this past season. Just as well.
No, it's true. All right. The next one we have is Stephanie Izard, Iron Chef Stephanie Izard going against Michael Reed. I don't really know Michael Reed at all. And Stephanie Izard, like I said, she was one of the final Iron Chefs that was added to get that title. And she is super impressive. So I've definitely got her in that match.
Yeah, I have Stephanie. Michael Reed was a play-in from last year. He actually went out in round 1 against Malin. I will say this. I like him. I like his style, but he just happens to go up against all the people that I want to beat him. And I love Stephanie Izard, and I think there's no chance. The queen, the girl in the goat herself, is going to take Michael Reed down.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So the next match, there is Kalina Bliss versus Chris Cosentino. As we both said, we saw Kalina in the most recent season of Iron Chef. I do remember her being kind of stern, but I also kind of remember liking her. And, she chose not to play back into the competition. But I was always really, because honestly, I remember when she lost thinking, oh, she's going to be right back. And she just chose to take herself out. So definitely impressed with her ability there. Chris Cosentino, I feel like he might have been in a first round match previously, but I don't remember, and I'm pretty sure he probably didn't win.
I don't think. Okay, so Chris Cosentino is a gamer. He has not done TOC yet. This is his first time. However, he has competed on Iron Chef America. He was on the next Iron Chef. He's done At the Table With. He's done Chef versus City on the Food Network. No Reservations. He's done and then he competed, I think, and has judged in Top Chef Canada and Top Chef Masters. So he's done a lot. I think he's more of a judge kind of person. So it's going to be very interesting to see him do this. But he's an awful kind of guy. Like he specializes in the awfuls. So I'm very, very intrigued to see what's going to happen. I'm very, very, I want to see how he does. However, I do have Kalina taking it. And I said Kalina was the villain on that season of Top Chef. I maintain that till the day I die. But she was a fun villain. She also made me very anxious at times. But go on, Queen.
All right. So the final match in that bracket is Shota Nakajima versus Brittany Anderson. Shota has been in the tournament, I think this is his 3rd time, and he's always won the first round. I don't think he's gotten past the second. but he's always impressed. Brittany Anderson played in, and she got the 7th seed, so she was impressive enough to get the 7th seed over the 8th seed. But I've got Showdown in that one.
I actually have Brittany because I have watched her. I've watched her a ton, and she's actually really good. She came in as runner-up of whatever the hotel cooking series was with Titus, because another competitor in this, Nini Nguyen, who played in I think last year, came in first. So they were 1 and 2, and I think Tobias was on there. Like it was a great season, but they beat him, and he's number 1 seed. Brittany is a phenomenal chef. She's really fun to watch. She can make a lot with very little. And she plays very well to the randomizer. She knows how to game, so that's actually the reason why I have her, because she is more of this type of competition chef than Kalina is.
Gotcha. Yeah,
so I'm intrigued.
I will say part of why I chose Shota there is that in previous seasons he's been one of those chefs that has scared me, because I'm always scared of the ones that are going to take out my favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, Britt started out that way. Until she became one of my favorites because she was just so good. But I always often Shota would be in the same area with Jet, and I'm like, don't take out Jet, leave Jet alone.
Well, and I love Shota. He was a great competitor on Top Chef. I think he's fun to watch, but more often than not, I see him doing more on the other side. I see him being a better team player in many ways. For whatever reason, I've only seen him clinch once, and I want to see more. So if he takes Brittany out, I will be very happy too.
All right. Yeah, we'll see. All right. So for the final division, first match in the number 1 spot, we have Tobias Dorzon versus David Viana in that number 8. I will say I was impressed, even though I was actually rooting for his competitor. I was impressed with David in that first, because he made his own tortilla in 30 minutes. So that is impressive. But I'm picking Tobias Dorzon all day long because he has made it pretty far in the majority of the seasons that he's been in. He's another one that if he hadn't, I think, has he been taken out by, did he get taken out by Britt last season?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
So with Britt not there, I think he's got potential.
Did I get that wrong? No, last season he got taken out by Dale Taldy. I found the wrong one. Oh, so I'm sorry. Hold on. Tobias. Okay. Where
Tobias.
am I?
Yeah, no.
Tobias. No, Tobias made it to quarterfinals with Manit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, because Manit took Britt out right before that. That's right. Okay. So yeah. I think Tobias has the potential to make it all the way to the semifinals again. But we will see. And then the next one that we have is Dale Taldy versus Sarah Bradley. I had forgotten about Dale Taldy beating Kieran Akunowitz last season, but I picked Sarah Bradley mainly because of her Top Chef pedigree. But you know more about her than I do.
I love them both. I've seen them both on 2 seasons each of Top Chef, and Dale can be a little bit of a cocky hothead, which I said, in the kitchen you got to be. But I think he has a little bit less creative pedigree than Sarah does. Sarah tends to she tends to pull something out. Like she was on Top Chef World All Stars. She came in second, and she is insane. Like she just does these things you don't expect, and she's from Kentucky, so it's even more of this you don't expect. Like she's a wild card. She's actually my wild card to win. And I know that's out
I
of
saw
left
that.
field,
Yeah,
but
that is.
she impresses me every time she picks up a tool in the kitchen. And I think she can play to the randomizer because on the season of Top Chef All-Stars that she was on, unlike everybody else who's played through that show, it was a little bit more like this, like the type of structure where they give you all those random things and they make you like really pull it out suddenly. It's it less drama, more cooking on these seasons of Top Chef that she was on. So like I'm intrigued. I want to see her go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. I'm always up for an upset, although you do have her beating Tobias, which might hurt me. But we'll see.
I also
We'll
have
see.
her beating Jet later on. So
Yeah, I know you're just really trying to injure me here. That's okay. So the next, only two more matches here. We have Claudette Zepeda versus Nini Nguyen. And I didn't remember much. Did you say that Nini played in for last season?
yes. So
I was going
let's
to say
go
her name
ahead.
sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember.
Yes, she played in last season and she went kind of far. Let's
Okay.
see, where did she end up? She was in the East A qualifiers and then
Uh-huh.
like, or no, she didn't go super far because she played Manit the first round, but she was the only
Oh,
person
okay.
who won her round, I think, or one of
Okay.
like I think really honestly like she went pretty well, but the
Okay.
one she went far in was that show that I was talking about, the hotel show. She won the whole thing,
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
she's just really again awesome to watch. Last Bite Hotel is the name of the show, and
Gotcha.
like
Okay.
I just really truly love her. I think she's going to take
Gotcha.
it out over Claudette, who is a fantastic chef. I love watching Claudette work, and she's so
Yeah, I think
unique
the
and
first
so
time I saw
fun.
her was in her episode of Wild Card Kitchen. Um,
Yeah,
you know, Obviously she knows what she's doing, but yeah, I picked Nini over her for this match too.
for sure. Oof. And
All
then the
right,
last
so
one.
yeah, the final match is Amanda Freitag, our number two seed, versus Carlos Anthony. And, Amanda Freitag has been pretty, impressive in this tournament in the past. She
Hmm.
went to the finals in the first season and has gone pretty far in more recent seasons. Whereas Carlos Anthony has yet to win a first round match. In fact, he had to play in order to be in the tournament this season. Um, but
Yep.
he also made it to the final two in 24 and 24. And I don't know. He got the number 7 seed in the play in. There's just something about him. I'm actually picking an upset here. I think that he has
You
what
too?
it takes to beat a man. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, but I feel like this is his year to
I
at least win the first match.
I feel like there are certain chefs in the TOC arena and surrounding who are starting to lose their ability to win in this arena. And
Oh,
I
yeah?
love Amanda Freitag.
Yeah.
I A couple years ago I would have said it was Jet and Antonia because they just couldn't seem to pull it out. But I think now without
Sure.
the champions there, I think they can do it.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think Amanda can because she hasn't even gotten there in the last couple of seasons. Now, she could really truly surprise me and take out Carlos and take out Nini and go the whole way. I
Sure.
mean, you never know.
I feel like she went relatively far in one of the more recent seasons.
You might be right, and
Um,
I'm going to take a look, but
yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where like when I
like
recall,
I feel like she made it to the quarterfinals, if not last season, the season
she
before that,
did.
either
She made it
4 or
to the
5.
quarterfinals
Okay,
and played Britt Rossino. She beat
okay,
Tiffany
yeah,
Faison, who was another
yes.
one who I actually thought was falling off a little bit. And don't tell her
Well,
I said that.
no, honestly, after that match, honestly, I didn't expect her to play because she literally said, "I'm done. I'm not playing anymore." So I was not surprised when she ended up on the commentary team.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it got rough. I mean, honestly, Amanda is one of those chefs that I've gone back and forth with. Sometimes I am not super impressed with her, and then she does something that I'm like, oh no, you deserve to be here, absolutely.
100%. I can
So
agree with that fully.
yeah,
And this is
um,
probably just me living in that moment before the
sure.
impressive portion. I also will say, to back up my pick of Adam Sobel earlier, I
Mhm.
just realized he went to the quarterfinals and lost to Jet Tila in season 4.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
I knew
I
I
knew that
remembered something.
I knew that he'd won at least the first couple of matches, but I couldn't remember how far he went. But yeah, that's yeah, we'll see. But just to go ahead and start wrapping up here,
Hmm.
I I will be posting my picks on our pages so that you can see some of the other picks that I have. But my final four are Antonia Lafaso, Jet Tila, Britt Rossino, and Tobias Durzon. I have Jet and Britt in the finals, and Jet taking it. It might be wishful thinking. I think it's very possible that Britt wins that match. Um, but number one, it's a match I want to see. Um, and even if Britt wins, I'll honestly, I've told you already, any of my final four win, and I'm happy.
It's
Um,
really honestly that, and like I have basically almost the same final four,
yeah,
except I have Sarah instead
Sarah,
of,
right? Mhm.
yeah.
Tobias,
I have Sarah instead of Tobias, but I have it. So I have Britt beating Antonia. I just think it's going to
hmm
happen, and it kills me.
sure.
And I have Sarah
Yeah, I
beating Jet.
know it's gonna kill Antonia too, but I think that
She's
Britt
gonna.
has the edge.
I think it's time. And if Britt wins the
Yeah,
belt, then guess what? She'll have her moment, and it'll happen.
yeah, yeah.
I think Sarah's gonna take it. I think she's gonna dark horse right through, and I think she's gonna wipe her hands clean with this competition. And I think she's
I
gonna
mean,
come out with the edge over Britt.
we saw it in the first season. Brooke Williamson came in as the number 7 seed and won the whole thing.
Yep,
So and then dominated for 3 seasons. So at least the West. So yeah, anything is possible.
it's true.
But yeah, I do want to go ahead and wrap this up. Just want to let everybody know how they can contact us. You can contact us at the Flying Cow Pod on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky. You can email at theflyingcowpod at gmail.com. Just let us know what you're thinking about this. Send in your brackets because we'd love for you to play along with us as well. And yeah, anything you want to add, Amber?
Um, I'm the same. You can find me at the name is, well, it's Takara Kanashi, TAKARAKANASHI, and I'm on every social except for Twitter because I don't want to do that. Um, I
Yeah,
got rid of
I'm
that.
only there for the show stuff.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
it.
like
Yeah,
it was so
because
close.
unfortunately my blue sky hasn't taken off yet. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there.
Oh yeah, like the only reason why mine has is the Swifties. But I'm one half of Ember Productions. I produce theater and podcasts and with my partner Maxwell. So you can find us at EMBERPRODUX Ember Products. So yeah, pretty cool.
All right. Well, Amber, thank you so much for helping me out with this, and look forward to talking to you again during the season,
Yes.
and look forward to the rest of you guys listening, and hopefully playing along. But until that time, move.